Hello traders, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and in this session we're going to be covering the weekly outlook for the second week of September. Okay, so before heading to that, we're going to be looking at how our previous weekly outlook played out. Okay, we're going to be seeing how the previous weekly outlook played out. All right, so on our screen here I have the US dollar. On my screen here I clearly have the US dollar, and I said in our previous weekly outlook that either the market breaks the structure, then comes back into the demand zone created there and give the strong push to the upside, which the market clearly did. As you can see, it came back to the demand zone, gave a strong push to the upside. And I remember I said the market wasn't going to go bearish yet until it clearly takes out the demand zone created. So in this scenario, the market didn't take out the demand zone, so we still had that strong push to the upside. Okay. So the next pair we are looking at is the GBPUSD. Okay, I've deleted my weekly analysis on the because of my I had to input my daily setups. Alright, well, if you clearly remember, I said on the GBPUSD we're gonna be expecting more of sales, which the market tend to be from this supply zone that was created here. Clearly, see we had more of sales to the downside, which lasted for over 198 pip trade on that. We had a 998 pip trade on that. If you have clearly placed your sell limit on that around the zone I highlighted, you have probably ended up with profit before adding push to the upside. Alright, so next pair is the Euro USD. The same scenario was seen on the Euro USD. I expected more of sales, which was what happened in the market. We had more sales in the market after at this level here. Yeah, we had more sales in the market before the push to the upside at the past structure. Right. Then the next pair we have is the NZDUSD. You see, I have our clear analysis on that. And if you clearly look, I ended up with saying that the market should go bearish, which the market did. So our weekly analysis is very, very important and helpful for you guys. You clearly see it had a bearish fall of 144 pips. So if you have probably placed your selling order at this level, your stop loss probably above this zone, then you would have had a profit of 144 pips trade. Okay. On to the next, which is the AUDUSD, which, as I said, we are currently reacting from a demand zone that had a change of character here. Our expectations for the market to come into the demand zone and give a reaction from that level there. Okay, which the market clearly did, although it didn't react to the demand zone that I highlighted at that level. So you have even placed your buying position at this level, your stop loss below here, or you have probably refined the demand zone to this level, then it should be up at least minimum of 171 pips. Okay, so moving on to the next pair. Moving on to the next pair, we have the USDJPY, and as I expected, the USDJPY didn't completely fulfill analysis because if you look at the upside, I clearly said I would have preferred the market to come back to the demand zone, any of these demands at this level there, and give a push to the upside. But what did the USDJPY do? It completely went up to the upside, right? And our expectation was either the market breaks this zone and continue pushing that side, which didn't happen. So we stopped in the bullish trend. Remember in our last video, if you haven't seen the video, the link will be dropped at the top of this video, at the top section of this video, then you can, and also in the description box for you to watch the previous video, our weekly analysis, so you can learn one or two things, alright. Then on the GBPJPY, as expected, we were stuck in this range, and what was expected either the market had a explosion to the upside, which the market did, or explosion to the downside, alright. Next, where we have the USDCAD, which I expected the market to give this push to the upside. As far as the market was still above this demand zone, the market gave a reaction to the upside, which the market did, and also take out the zone and give a reaction to this level, right? Which is what's happening. Next pair we have the USDCHF. I think this is the last pair. I expected the market to give this strong push to the downside and give the reaction, right? So that was basically what happened. So basically, okay, I have one more pair to look at, which is the Euro GBP. Okay, and the Euro GBP, our analysis was completely invalid, alright? In this session, our analysis was completely invalid. This after market obeyed for some point, then completely ran invalid because it was reacting to the demand zone that was created at this point, which I think I ignored. Okay, so having seen the performance of our last week weekly outlook, we're gonna be heading to this week. Okay, so for this week, we had series of fundamentals. We had series of fundamental coupled with the fact that we just lost the Queen Elizabeth II, which left at the age of 96 years. RIP the Queen, the London Bridge has fallen. So having said that, and I think last week we had some pretty good fundamentals. We had pretty good fundamentals, like let's just say. So and I think as of last week we had some very beautiful fundamentals. We had the as on Monday. On Monday we had the retail sales, and on Tuesday we had the ISM, which was positive. On Wednesday we had the FOMC, and on Thursday, which I think on Thursday was when the Queen passed out, which was probably the first day. Okay, yesterday the Queen passed out. Today is Friday. As I tell recording, today is Friday. So on Thursday we had some funny news. We had Fed Powell speak, the ECB press conference, and at the late hours of Thursday the Queen passed out. Alright. So basically for the next week we're gonna be understanding fundamental. Okay. So without wasting much of our time, let's head into business. On our screen here, we have the dollar index, which you're going to be starting it with dollar index as the DXY. We're going to be starting for our weekly time frame to see the whole direction of the market. So on the weekly time frame, we could clearly see we are in a bullish trend, alright? On the weekly time frame, we clearly see we had this strong bullish trend as the market kept on breaking our structures to the upside. We could clearly look, the market had this series of break of structures from this level here, had a break of structure here, this is the break of structure at that level there, yeah, another break of structure to the upside. So the market was stuck in a bullish trend when the market kept on breaking structure to the upside, and currently we will clearly see we are reacting to a supply zone that was created in the past, which was currently you could clearly say the supply zone is at this level there. Okay, so the market is reacting to a supply zone that was created in the past, which is at that point there. Okay, so basically, it can probably hold it can be a very strong supply zone. So the market has given a pullback into this supply zone that was created here, and the week you clearly see it had this strong rejection that was formed there. So the market has created a strong push into a supply zone that was created in the past as at I think as at 2003. Okay, 2003, that was when the market came back into the supply zone that was created in the past. So we could clearly say we can boldly say that the market is in a supply zone, so we should be expecting a little reaction, probably push to the downside in the weekly time frame, probably into this demand zone that was created at this level. So yeah, we should be expecting a push to the downside into the demand zone that was created at that level there, because they are still very bullish. Okay, so until the weekly structure can take out this low, then we can look very to go very bearish on this trade. But for the fact that the market is still, can you stop that? For the fact that the market is still above this demand zone, we are still expecting buy on the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame, we are still in a bullish trend, except for the market is currently reacting to a supply zone, which can probably be a mean to create a complex retracement or a complex pullback into the zone. Okay, and even with the fact that we have got some, and the queen is dead, and so many other fundamentals are coming in. And for the past week was kind of crazy. Past week was very crazy. So we can't really say based on fundamental using the past week data what we expect on this week. So basically, from my technical analysis here, we have got this break of structure on our weekly time frame. Have gotten this break of structure here. The break of structure on our weekly time frame at this point there. And what to expect is that we are expecting the push to the downside from there to give it that the complex retracement back into the demand zone for the market to either continue to push up and take our structure to the upside. Okay, heading on to our daily time frame. The daily time frame, we are still currently above the demand zone that was created. We have this break of structure here. When I'm using the body break of structure there, we have the break of structure there. Then we also have this beautifully created demand zone here, which the market is reacting to. Okay, out of the range created demand zone, the market is currently reacting to the demand zone, and you can see having this strong push to the upside on our daily time frame. So the market is still above this demand zone, and you can see we have got liquidity there. Okay, so because of liquidity there, can't really give a pure intention of this market from the daily time frame. So we have to head into the 4 hour time frame to see what our expectation for this market. On our 4 hour time frame, we have got this nice and beautifully created change of character that was created at that level there. We have got this beautifully created change of character at that point there. The market took us to the upside, and we also have a beautiful supply demand flip. Okay, we had a supply demand flip. We had this demand that was created here, which the market tend to give a reaction there, then had this push to the upside and complete rejection at supply zone, and also the market supply zone completely faded, right? So in this scenario now, we are currently reacting to the demand zone that's created there. And if you look at the demand zone to the right hand side on our 4 hour time frame, you clearly see we have liquidity there. So our expectations for this week on the dollar index is, and we also have this beautifully created supply zone at that level there. We had a supply zone down there. So my expectation this week on Euro USD is, okay, we have this demand zone which is below the liquidity there. We clearly, if we look at our chart, or the way we look at our chart, we have more details, okay, on the chart. So we have the demand zone that is below liquidity there. So either the market, and this and the demand zone here also swept out liquidity in the past. It swept out liquidity in the past, so it makes the demand zone very, very valid. And the demand zone also took out structure to the upside and has the liquidity above the structure. Our expectations for this market is to either give a complex pullback into the zone, the supply zone created there, and give a reaction there and continue to the upside, or for the market to completely fill the zone and still give a reaction there to give a push to the upside. So basically, because we have gotten this change of character and a demand failure, which indicates that the market is completely ready to shift trend, our expectation on the DXY, which is dollar index, is for the market to have a push back into the supply zone created and continue its movement to the downside. Alright, have a push to the supply zone created and continue its movement to the downside. Okay, that's that on the dollar index, our expectation dollar index. We're gonna moving on to the next pair, which is, so moving on to the next pair is the GBPUSD, okay? And yeah, we're gonna move on to the next pair, GBPUSD. You note in this session we are still analyzing just the top 10 forex pairs, alright? The top 10 forex pairs. So on our GBPUSD, you can clearly see we have still got this, we are still in a bearish trend from the weekly time frame. We are still in a very strong, okay. Although the market tends to be giving a reaction to a demand at this level here, we are still bearish because you haven't seen the market take out any structure here, okay. So either the market, until the market takes out the structure, then we can clearly say we are in a bullish trend. Okay, the market is intending to go bullish, but for now, you can clearly look, we have gotten this big structure to the downside, creating a lower low, lower high, 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 lower low, lower high. And presently we are still creating a lower low, okay, which can either send to either the lower low tends to form a market structure to come back into this beautifully created supply zone at this level there. That the market tends to obey the market structure, because market structure is always key. You trade what you see and not what you think. Okay, so the market tends to give this pullback back into the zone and continue its push to the downside, because clearly look, we have gotten this beautifully created break of structure here. They have had the beautifully created break of structure to the downside. So either the market give a push to the upside back into the supply zone and continue to the downside, you can clearly see we are still in a bearish trend. Okay, so for now, we are still expecting bearish movement on our weekly time frame. Heading to the daily time frame, what could we see on our daily time frame? Our daily time frame, we are in the demand zone and there's still no sign of anything happening here apart from, okay, we also have this beautifully created supply zone there. So our daily time frame is still looking quite bearish, very bearish, because we haven't taken out any structure. Okay, the nearest structure that we will probably taking out is this, the structure at this level there, which the market hasn't even gotten near talking of taking it out. Okay, so in this scenario, we are still looking very bearish apart from the market seeming to react to the supply zone there. So with still the market obeying the market structure that we have, a very structure, we are still gonna be expecting more of sales for this week instead of buy, okay, until the market can take out any of the structure created. Either it takes out this level here or this level now, daily time frame, before we can clearly say this market is going bullish. And on our 4 hour time frame, what can we see here? On our 4 hour time frame seems to get pretty more detail. In this scenario, we can refine our supply zone up to that level, and we have got a break of structure here, market scatter structure here, and also we can clearly see we have another break of structure at this level there, okay, and a supply zone created there. So having understood that this market is in a demand zone, and in our demand zone, in GBP time frame, we have this change of character being formed here. I have a change of character there. You can clearly see another change of character there. Okay, so understanding that the market is still in a demand zone, and on our 4 hour time frame, which you can probably be used as our smaller time frame to enter a trade on the GBP and USD, we can be expecting that the market will give a pushback into this demand that was created at this point here that also led to this supply demand. Okay, yeah, we had a supply demand at that level because if you look, the market was in a very trend taking us through to the downside. We have a lower low created here, lower high created here, lower low. Then at this point, kind of, we can really still call this lower low created there. Sorry, a lower high created here and a lower low. Then upon market coming back to the supplies and what did market? The market gave a reaction, had a push to the downside and completely took out the zone. So our expectations, if the market is tend to be the structure is to be obeyed, is our expectation for the market is for the market to have a pushback into the demand zone created there, then completely take out the structure to the upside. Okay. So if the market obeys the structure, either it gives a push to the downside, obey the demand zone created there. And remember on our dollar index, we are bearish on our dollar index, which also gives strong indication that on the GBPUSD, since we are bearish on our dollar index, it seems to be looking bearish for the week. On the GBPUSD, our expectations will also be a bullish trade. So our expectation is for the market to come back into its demand zone and give a pushback up here, right? So that's our expectation. Well, the GBP USD, either that or if the market decides to respect the supply zone at this level here, have a push to the upside and continue in that bearish momentum. But for the fact that we have this change of character here, the change of character should hold for a while and on a confluence that we are in a demand zone here, we are in a demand zone. This is our highest expectation, okay? But the market will also give a supply demand flip, which I think is trying to form here that the market comes back into this demand zone created there, then give a push to the upside. That's what's gonna happen. That's what we should expect on the market. I can't really say what's gonna happen, alright. So that's our expectation on this market, or the market comes back to the supply zone and takes out the structure. Okay, so that's the market structure actually expectation, my expectation order flow on the GBP USD. Moving to the next pair, which we have the Euro USD, and we're going to be starting for our 4 hour time frame as always, and on our weekly time frame as always. On our weekly time frame, could clearly see we are still in a very strong. Okay, on our weekly time frame, we are still in a very strong, where the market kept on forming series of lower lows and lower highs, 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 and also a lower low. Okay. The market kept on repeating its structure, creating series of lower lows and lower highs, indicating that we are still very bearish. Okay. On a weekly time frame, we haven't had any close above this high to clearly say, okay, we are still bullish. But for now, but the fact that the market is still below this high created at that level there, the market is still below that high created there, we are still expecting a very bearish market on this trade. Okay, so if we could put in some little detail to this, we have gotten this beautiful break of structure at that level there, have a break of structure there, and we also have this beautifully created supply zone there. Then what the expectation following the market overall structure, market structure is always key as a chance to push back into this now until you push to the outside. Remember, the trend is your friend until the trend changes, alright? You ride the trend, flow with the trend until the trend changes. So we have still got the break of structure to the downside, and our supply zone is expected to hold because we are still looking for sales on the weekly time. On the weekly time frame, Euro USD still looks pretty bearish. Heading to a daily time frame, what can we see here? On our daily time frame, I think we have created a break of, okay, we have created a change of character there. Now daily time frame, we have created a beautiful change of character at that point there. Okay, if we do this, then we have a clear change of character created at that level there. Change of character there. Okay, so on our daily time frame, we clearly see we have a change of character there, and we also got this beautifully created demand zone. We have a demand zone at this point here. Okay, an unmitigated demand zone and change of character. So on our daily time frame, this is what we have here, giving us intention that probably the market can give a little coverage retracement to the upside. For day traders, we can expect the market to come back and push to the upside. For day traders, this should be our expectation on our daily time frame. The market has taken out the structure here. This was the previous high that led to the break of structure here. That was the last high that led to the break of structure here. The market has taken out the structure for me, having us to see a change in character or an indication that this market, the bearish trend, is becoming weak on the daily time frame, and we are still expecting push to the upside. On our 4 hour time frame, what are we seeing here? On our 4 hour time frame, we will still look at the chart here. You can see it gives us more information that we had a range at this level. Okay, on the forward time frame, you clearly see the more we enter charts, the more we understand. In the forward time frame, we have this range created, and what did market do? We have this beautifully range. Market was stuck in this range here that was created from the previous month. Okay, the previous week we had the range created there. Then what the market completely swept out the range with this week here. We had the range created liquidity. Let's call that liquidity there. We have liquidity there too. On the forward time frame, we clearly see that was liquidity. The market showed the liquidity to the downside and also showed liquidity to the upside, which can still be indicated as a change of character in this scenario. So with that being said, and we have got we have we finding our demand zone, we can find our demand zone to this level there. So on a forward time frame still gives us the same intention, market showed liquidity downside and to cash up to the upside. So basically explaining what happened here is that there were so many orders stacked at this level here. They had so many buy and sell position at that point there. And what did the institution sees that and they were like, okay, this was gonna happen. We are still going to go overall bullish on this trend, okay? We are still going to go overall bullish on this trade. So but first of all, we have to take out the liquidity that was created, okay? Or the whole liquidity of equal trend line liquidity. If I play some who say we have trend line liquidity there, we also have equal lows liquidity at this point there. So the market first of all took out all the liquidity that was created there. Okay, took out everything and took out structure to the upside. After it took out the structure there, it had a change of character. It broke above the high created, took out liquidity to the upside and to the downside. So the market is expected to flow in the manner of an uptrend, having come back to the demand to give a reaction and a strong to push to the upside. On our 4 hour time frame, we also have this beautifully created supply zone. That's the supply zone. I'm sorry for the color there. Also have that beautifully created supply zone at that point there. Okay. So we also have this beautifully created supply zone at this level and also at this level. So our expectations on this pair is to give a strong push to the downside, retracing back into the demand zone created there and push to the upside. Next pair we are having is the NZDUSD. Coming from our weekly time frame, we have this change of character in the past year. So I've gotten this beautifully created change of character in the past. And after change of character was formed, we have an unmitigated demand zone which lies here, which the market is currently playing around in. We have this unmitigated demand zone at that level there, which market is currently playing around in. Okay. So presently the market is giving a reaction to the demand zone, although it hasn't given any clear intention of the market going bullish until it takes out this high that was created at that point there. So until the market takes out that structure there, then we can clearly say we are ready to go bullish on the weekly time frame. But since we are still below this high, we are still pretty bearish, okay, on this trade. We are still below this high on our weekly time frame. We are still below that high. We are still pretty bearish, okay. Because if you tell you look from the top here, we first of all had this high without there, then also had the change of character after market took our structure to the upside and to the downside. We had the change of character there. The market created a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, and also a lower low. So the market has been in that range, except the market took out the structure on the weekly time frame before we can clearly see we are looking for buy opportunities. Okay. On the daily time frame, the market is still hasn't given us any clear intention on our daily time frame, because if you look at our daily time frame, we have got this break of structure here and the market is currently at a supply zone, which is at this point here. Okay, we have a supply zone there which the market is currently reacting to, which still indicates that we are not yet ready to do anything. Okay, we are not yet ready to buy. There's no intention of this market buying anytime soon until it takes out the supply zone, any of the supply zone that's created there. Okay, so our daily time frame, we still have this high at this point here, still have a high there. So either the market takes out that high before you can clearly see we are buying on the daily time frame. Okay, you want to go to 4 hour time frame to see any confirmation or any detailed instruction there, which you can clearly see one here. Clearly see one because on the 4 hour time frame, let's just start from the data at this level here. We had a lower low that took out the structure here, then a lower high, a lower low, and a lower high, and also a lower low. Then at this point here, market took out the high created. Okay, market completely took out the high created, creating a higher high. Okay, our expectation is a retracement back into probably this demand line at this level and a push to the upside. Okay, to update the supply zone at that point there. So we also have this beautifully created demand zone here. Remembering on remember on this NZD, sorry. We also have this beautifully created demand zone here. On our chart on dollar index, we are expecting push to the downside. And remember, EURUSD, NZDUSD, GBPUSD, the AUDUSD, they are all the inverse of what the dollar index is doing. So if the dollar index is buying on GBPUSD, EURUSD, NZDUSD, and AUDUSD, our expectations is that the market should be selling. All right, the flip side of what of the dollar index is doing. Okay, so if the dollar index is buying, any pair that has USD as the quote currency, or as the quote currency or discount currency, sorry, base currency, now it's going to be the base currency. So any pair that has USD as the base currency is expecting to be selling if EURUSD is buying, and reverse is the case. Sorry, if DXY dollar index is buying and reverse is the case. If dollar index is selling, other currency pair that has USD as the second currency the pair is expected to be buying. So in this scenario here, USD dollar index is gonna be selling. So on this market, what we're expecting push to the upside, buy side liquidity. Okay, market keep on taking us to the upside. Okay, so in this scenario here, we have got this big structure to the upside. That's a change of character there, and also we've got a second change of character there. So our expectation is the market to come back into the demand zone and have a push to the upside. Okay, that's our expectation. NZDUSD, moving on to the next pair, AUDUSD, and set for our weekly time frame. On our weekly time frame, we are okay. On our weekly time frame, we are still looking pretty bearish, except for the fact that the market hasn't created a new low. On our weekly time frame, we are still looking bearish, except for the fact the market hasn't yet to create a new low. Because if you look at this chart here, we currently have the lower low at this point here. Okay, not that point here. We have a lower low at this level, then a lower high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, and a lower high. In this scenario, the market is still respecting the demand zone that is created there, because the market hasn't had enough momentum to take out the demand zone there. So we can clearly say that we are still expecting a range on AUDUSD, because the market needs to gain enough momentum to take out the structure to the downside. So as far as AUDUSD is still above this structure here, okay, it's still above the structures here, and it's still below this structure. It hasn't taken out any structure both to the upside or downside. We can say we're expecting a range on this market. Okay, so if the structure takes out this low, then we can say we are going bearish, and if it takes out this high, we can say we are going bullish. Okay, but for the fact it's still above the low and also below the high, you're gonna be expecting a little consolidation on AUDUSD. Heading to the daily time frame to see if there's any different info there. Our daily time frame, we could clearly see we have gotten this change of character. The market took out the structure to the downside and also giving us this new low, a new high at that level. The market took out the structure here with a little takeout. I also created a new high at that level, and it's back into a demand zone which the market tends to be reacting to and obeying to. Probably looking for a momentum to take out the structure. And we can also look, the market is reacting to a supply zone at this point here. Okay, we have a supply zone which the market can probably be reacting to expect to push to the downside. So as far as the market still tends to be, and if you also look at this chart here on the daily time frame, you can see we have got this change of character here. We have had this change of character at this point here. Okay, good. And we also have a beautifully created range demand zone here. So currently the market is still in the demand zone, indicating that okay, the market hasn't taken out any structure. We are expecting a range. Okay, our expectation is either the market still respect that zone and continue pushing to the upside, then at some point it will obey this supply zone and continue pushing the downside. So we are probably expecting a range on AUDUSD. I can't give a specific direction. So, but for a day trader heading to the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame gives more info and smaller details for us to catch more trade. On the 4-hour time frame, we had liquidity at this level which was swept out. We are gonna highlight as change of character, because it was completely swept out. It took our structure to the downside and also took our structure to the upside. Okay, on our 4-hour time frame, we have gotten that change of character, took our structure to the downside, also took our structure to the upside, and we have got this beautifully created demand at that level. And the market, understanding that the market is still in a supply zone, giving reaction to supply zone. So on our 4-hour time frame, my expectations on AUDUSD is a push down here to the demand zone, and for the demand zone to respect and obey. Okay, either it takes out the structure because you clearly look, we have got liquidity at this level there, which indicates the market will take out that structure, or for the market to give enough momentum and take us well to the downside. So our 4 hour time frame, the highly probability trade setup we should be expecting is a push from there, rejection from there down here to the demand zone, and a strong push to the upside. Okay, that's my expectation of that flow on the AUDUSD 4 hour time frame. Moving to the next pair, the USDJPY. From the USDJPY on our weekly time frame, we are still very bullish from last week. We are still looking very bullish from last week because we are still stuck in an uptrend. Okay, we are still looking very bullish from last week. Market was taking our structure to the upside, have a break of structure here, another break of structure here, break of structure here, and also a break of structure here. So presently we are in a situation where we've got this break of structure there, okay, and a supply, a demand zone at that point there, okay. So on our USDJPY is the same as last week. We have had this break of structure. The market just kept on creating strong bullish candles to the upside. We had a break of structure there, and we expect this market to give a pullback into the demand zone and continue to push to the upside. Okay. Then on our daily time frame, what our expectations is that our expectation is still the same, strongly bullish on the daily time frame because on the daily time frame we are still looking very bullish. Okay, apart and the fact that we have got a demand zone there, have a demand zone there, and at this level here. So our expectation is either the market come back from there to this demand zone and give a reaction to the upside, or also decide to come down there and give a reaction to the upside. So any of those can happen on the GHJPY. Then on our 4 hour time frame, still basically the same thing because I haven't taken any clear structure to the downside. Okay, so on our 4 hour time frame, we are still looking very bullish. We're expecting more buys on this trade. Okay, especially once the market push down to the demand zone and take out the structure to the upside. Okay, that's my expectation on USDJPY 4 hour time frame. I think that's the case analysis we're going to be having here. Next pair we have the GBPJPY. Okay, on GBPJPY, we were stopped in a range the last week. Yeah, we are having a range. We are still stuck in this range on our weekly time frame. Let's see, we have break of structure to the upside, a little weak at that level there, and we also have this demand zone which the market is currently reacting to. And since then, we have just been stuck in this range. Market hasn't really taken our structure to any direction. So since then, we are stuck in a range on the GBPJPY, okay, the GJ. So we are still in this range on our weekly time frame. Market hasn't taken out any structure in the range. So we have to wait. We are expecting either it takes out the structure to the upside for mobiles to come in, or a straight structure to the downside. So the GBPJPY, we haven't gotten any specific direction on it. Okay, on our daily time frame, what do we see here? Our daily time frame, what we have here is that the market tends to take out another range that was created here to the upside. Had liquidity at that point there, so it took out the liquidity at that point to the upside, and we have our demand zone at this level there. Okay, so on our daily time frame, we have gotten this beautifully created demand zone at that point there, which expects that the market should push from there, and we also have liquidity swept at this point here. We have liquidity swept at that point there, and our supply zone can be said to be somewhere in there. Okay, so for the DJ, we are expecting a push to the downside from there, and then I think, okay, if we are still waiting liquidity at this point here, it hasn't really taken out any structure. So for the GBPJPY, we are still creating liquidity, and there's still so many liquidity that needs to be swept. Okay, so the market is still, after it's also swept out liquidity, we are still above this structure here. So we can't really give any specific direction on the GJ until the market takes out structure to the upside. If the market takes out structure to the upside, then we are buying. If it takes out structure to the downside, then we are looking for sales. But for now, we are still stuck in the beautifully created range. Okay, on our 4 hour time frame, to see if we can get more info on the chart, it's basically still the same thing. Basically, still the same thing. We had a break of structure here, very small on there, and the market is still creating liquidity. So on GG, we are either expecting this push to the downside or liquidity to be swept. Okay, so basically on GG, I won't really give a specified direction yet on GG. Okay, we are still holding with analysis on next week that we have liquidity that needs to be swept. So until this liquidity is swept out, then we can give a specified direction on GG. Okay. Moving on to the next pair, we have the USD card. Okay, USD card coming from our weekly time frame. We can clearly see on our weekly time frame very rough price action here. We had a higher high, a higher low. Yeah, I got this higher high there, higher low, higher high there, higher low, higher high there, and a higher low. Okay, so on the GJ, on the USD card, we are in a bullish trend. Okay, market keep on taking us to the upside, and at some point here, I can say we have got this character hidden here, and we have a supply zone at that level there that the market tends to be reacting to. Okay, we have a supply zone that the market tends to be reacting to. The petition is for the market to come back into this demand zone. This demand zone here has been left unmitigated. Okay, so now on our USD card from our weekly time frame, we are still looking with the same. We are expecting the same movement as the dollar index. Okay, on our USD card, we are expecting the same movement as the dollar index to give a push to the downside back into this demand zone. Okay, so on our USD card is looking pretty bearish from our weekly time frame and heading to the daily time frame. The daily time frame, I can't really see anything here because we have got this break of structure there, and the market is still above this demand zone here. Okay, so the market is still above the demand zone here. Before we could clearly say we are going bearish, we are going looking for sales on this trade, is that we want to see the reaction to the demand zone failure. Okay, that's when we can clearly say we are going bearish on the USD card from the daily time frame. It means our 4 hour time frame, pretty much the same thing, except we have gotten so many supply demand failures here. We had a supply demand flip here, they had a demand zone failure, market took a to the downside, and we also have a supply zone at this point there. Okay, have a supply zone at that point there. So our expectations still remain the same. The market to put back into supply zone and continue pushing the downside, or for the market to come to the demand zone and we push to the upside. So those are our expectations on USD card. And the second to last pair, which is USDCHF, then what our expectation on this pair? Pretty much the same thing as Morris. So we have our USDCHF here, then we could clearly see we are in a bullish phase for some moment, because we have got this break of structure there, we have a break of structure here, okay, and we have a demand zone created there. Okay, we have a demand zone created there which the market is currently reacting to, and we also have a break of structure to the downside and the supply zone created at this level here. Supply zone created here. Okay, so on our USDCHF, we can't really give a specified direction on this sheet. Okay, I have a supply zone created there, and our expectations for this market is to give a push to the downside, although we can probably be having a change of character on a smaller time frame. For the daily time frame here, we clearly see we are currently having a change of character here. Okay, currently having a change of character there, and we should be having our demand zone at this level there. So on our USDCHF, we are still looking pretty bearish. Okay, pretty bullish, alright, because we still have this break of structure there, and we can say this is liquidity there. Okay, we can have that as liquidity there. Then yeah, so on our USD CHF, we should be expecting market to come back to the zone and take us through to the upside. Alright, and this is our 4 hour time frame. Still on the USD CHF pair, we have a change of character here. You still clearly have liquidity at this point here. So on the USD CHF pair, we still have so many series of liquidity here. Everything created liquidity at that point there. So our expectations is probably still the same with the daily time frame for the market to come back into the demand zone and give a strong push to the upside. Our last pair we're looking at is the Euro GBP. The last pair we're looking at is the Euro GBP. Okay, coming for our weekly time frame, we can say we are expecting strong push to the upside because we have this change of character created there to the upside, and also another one at this level here. Yeah, let's use this one at this level there. Then we have got this demand zone which the market came back to mitigate, and so they're reacting off. Okay, We have got this demand zone which the market came back to mitigate and started acting off, and our liquidity created at this point here. Liquidity created at that point there. So we are still pretty bearish, sorry, pretty bullish on the Euro GBP, alright. Heading to our daily time frame, we have had a break of structure there, okay. We are moving to the upside very, very impulsively, have an impulse move to the upside. Here we had the supply demand flip at that level there. Market reacted and gave a reaction there. Then we have got this break of structure there, and our demand zone will be beautifully seated here. So we have our demand zone beautifully seated there. So our expectations is for the market to come back into the demand zone, then give a reaction of this nature and take us to the upside. Okay. On our 4 hour time frame, for 4 hour time frame, pretty much the same thing that's happening there. But there's no change of character from there. So it's pretty much the same thing that we're expecting on the 4 hour time frame. Market to come back into the demand zone, do some sort of reaction and push to the upside. Okay. So for those who stay to the end of the video, I hope you learned a thing or two. And thanks for being with us. First, let's mind anyways.